Stellar Sounds, the Onstjorn Interview Podcast. Learn about the populace who makes up the kingdom of Onstjora in the game of the Society for Creative Anachronism. Learn more at onstjora.org. Hello, Onstjora. My name is Donia Drew Drake, and I am the Kingdom Social Media Officer. And here I have King and Queen of Onstjora, John and Vittoria, first of their name. And they have graciously accepted my offer of doing a podcast, the first one for Onstjora, an interview series that has been on my mind for some time now, learning about people's experience in the SCA and hopefully gaining some interest to those in the SCA to maybe try some new things, and those who aren't sure about the SCA, and giving everyone, the whole populace of Onstjora and the gnome world, an opportunity to get to know our new king and queen, as they've been doing this job for about a month now, and this is their first time. And I have been playing for almost 4 years now, and this is my first time crown, so I'm very excited about this. And I know John and Vittoria very well, as John is my teacher for my path to the Master of Defense. And so I'm excited to let everyone else get to meet them. So I want to ask this question because not everyone knows this, but when did you guys discover the SCA and what was the start of your journey? If Vittoria, Her Majesty, would like to start.
Well, I don't know if I'm a great place to start because I did not discover the SCA. Uh, I am second generation, and my parents met on the Side Ellis field. They were both rapier fighters, and they met doing rapier fighting in the SCA. So, um, yeah, I didn't ever discover the SCA. It was more just a thing that has always existed in my life. I know that I intentionally chose the SCA though, um, coming up and starting rapier fighting when I was a preteen and doing that for a very long time and going through all the way to adulthood and um, getting to experience all those different seasons in the SCA. I then took some time away and came back because I realized how wonderful and supportive the community here is. I came to a crossroads in my life where I needed to have that energy and that support again, and knew that I would be able to come home to that feeling in Onstjora.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Your Majesty. And for His Majesty, your answer on how you discovered the SCA.
I discovered the SCA when I was 14. I had some friends who I had played D&D with and were kind of nerdy. And so they had started coming out and doing some youth fighting and they told me about it. And they were like, there's these people who do sword fighting in the park. And we think you should come out and try it. And I came out and there was people doing youth armored fighting, like Boffer, and there was people doing youth rapier fighting. And I decided to do youth rapier fighting back then, and I did that for many years. And it was kind of when I discovered it, it was pretty much like, oh, this is kind of what I felt like I'd been looking for. Like I wanted to do for real what I read about in books and in video games and and played D&D with, right? So I got to do sword fighting, and so I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And then I learned more about it. Learned that there was, this whole organization, and then there was kings and queens and awards to get and stuff. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. So I did rapier fighting for a long, long time since I was 14, and then I only started fighting heavy, probably about 2020 or 2021. I got into fighting heavy more too. So I'm a master defense and a knight. So that's kind of my story. Oh, also that first practice I went to was the first time, I think the first person I ever fenced with was actually Her Majesty when I first came out. Like, so I actually met way back then, um, almost 20 years ago at this point, 2007.
It's been a
If you
minute.
hadn't if you hadn't mentioned it, that was going to be my next thing, was that both their majesties are from the barony of Bringalod, both started as youth and have known each other for John said almost 20 years. So, or over 20 years, a good amount of time ago. So, what was it like being a kid in the SCA? I know I went to a few events as a youth and really enjoyed it, but not everyone is lucky enough to discover the SCA or be born into the SCA. So, what was it like growing up in this game?
Yeah. Um, really inspiring. I think that I grew up on the stories of what it meant to be a knight and what it meant to be a white scarf and the king and queen and chivalry and all those just amazing things. It was a part of my childhood, and so I got to be inspired by this entire framework, and see how people could treat each other well in that way. I also really loved getting to run around with the other kids at events. There was a event site that we used a lot where there was a really, really big swing, and just running around with the other kids and playing pretend and swinging on the swings. And actually, I think, Drew, we have a tree in common that we both climbed when we were kids on a different event site. Of course, it was at completely different times, but
Absolutely.
yeah, it was really fun to get to run around and have that time, that community time, like see the same kids over and over again at different events, and just yeah, have that as an inspiration in my life.
That's amazing. I know Your Majesty, John, didn't have as much time as a youth, being 14. I think you leveled up to adult fighting uh, after a bit of youth fighting, but still, you grew up and went through several years of your teenage years in the SCA. What was that like? And what was the transition to then being an adult like?
I think doing the SCA as a teenager and kind of growing up in it, or at least maturing in it, right?
Hmm.
I think it was really nice that I was able to have mentors, like through the SCA, like people who other adults, though other than my parents, that taught me things about taught me fighting, obviously, but also like about honor and chivalry and all these ideals in the essay that we hold here. I think learning about those in my formative years has definitely affected how I view the world in a really positive way. And I think that was really cool to be able to have those ideas really instilled in me, really, like I said, at a formative age. Because that's kind of when those are the ages when you're really figuring out how the world works and how you're figuring out how you want to be part of it. And I really appreciate the SCA having being a huge part of that. And I think having looking at things like chivalry and those better ideals as a better way to just be a better person, I think was really cool to have that at a young age.
I think some kids, uh, like I said, I went to one or two events as a kid, but for the most part, I grew up with things like Narnia and Harry Potter, Princess Bride, Pirates of the Caribbean, like all those kinds of things that we learn about some of these virtues and we get to think about some of the things of knights and some of that medieval Renaissance time period. But I think you guys have truly a unique perspective growing up in it. And that kind of leads to our next question about what in the SCA you enjoy. You've both kind of mentioned fighting as youth, but now that you are both full fledged adults, what are some things and interests that you have in the SCA? And for those who are completely new, the Society for Creative Anachronism is anything pre 17th century, all the way from fighting to arts and sciences, to multiple forms of fighting, and service and community. And so your special interests can be part of that. It can be something I didn't even list. And so I want to start with Her Majesty, mostly because she at this most recent event was Queen's Champion. She embroidered two scarves, and that's a skill I know you've been learning. Embroidery is something that I've always wanted to try, and so I know that is an interest of yours. So if you want to talk a little bit about that journey and also your other interests in the SCA. I know it's a big question, so just kind of go into what you think about. What first comes to your mind?
Oh, well, the thing that first comes to my mind is rapier fighting.
Absolutely.
I was talking about the community bringing me back to the SCA, but also the opportunity to get to use my body to do physical chess again. It was something that I always loved about rapier fighting was the it is an athletic pursuit, but it's also a very intellectual pursuit. You were working hard to misdirect your opponents and like use your not just brute strength but dexterity and skills in order to overcome your opponent's defenses and win the day. So coming back to the SCA, I was really excited to study fighting again. I actually started a study group back in the day and invited John to join me studying historical fighting styles. I really like Italian rapier, especially Capoferro is my favorite. There's been a lot of um, over the years. There've been a lot of different people who have translated different manuals and made them more readily available. And so there's more available now than there ever has been. If you are interested and excited about learning historical fighting styles, it's so cool. But another thing I do enjoy, I like to do costuming. Embroidery, I'm not super great at. My friend Nessa is way better, but I enjoy being able to put things together for my friends with what skill I have, and so being able to embroider a few things by my hand to give to my champion, to give to my white scarves. That meant so much to me to be able to do that. I just love costuming. I really enjoy seeing the transition of women's clothing over time and what it says about their place within culture. I enjoy the idea of getting to make wearable art, to have something that I create be something that is functional and in some things that protect me from the elements, or even when I'm doing fighting, things that are beautiful that allow me to express my individuality, that allow me to bring a portrait to life. That's such a cool feeling of being able to make that magic happen with a needle and thread. So those are some things that really inspire me in the SEA.
That's incredible. And being your student, John, I know how much you enjoy fighting. And so, what do you like about fighting so much? I know you did youth fighting and then rapier fighting, and then during the pandemic, kind of got into armored fighting. What has kept you fighting for this long in the SCA for decades, and so much so that you wanted to try the other four?
I am so I've always said I'm super competitive, right? So I love fighting competition. I love that go out there against one other person and you either win or you lose. And when you lose, you can go back and learn from that and get better, come back out and try to win again, right? Like it's very simple, but yet there's a lot of nuance in fighting, and I like a challenge. But I also love fighting, like the intellectualness of it. I think I love thinking about it, breaking it down. Like I do a lot of video review. You can go look on YouTube and you can find videos of me talking about fighting or teaching. Tons of videos of teaching classes on fighting stuff on my YouTube channel, and I do live streams where we discuss breakdown fighting with a friend from Atlantia. So I really love all aspects of it, and I do armored fighting and rapier fighting and cut and thrust, and I always trying to look for a new challenge. So one of the reasons I got into armored fighting was I'd been pretty successful at rapier fighting, and so I wanted to be challenged again and have to learn. And when you're new at fighting, when you're new at anything, it's really a luxury because you put effort in and you get way better. And so it's kind of fun to try a new thing because it's easier to improve at it than when you already have a lot of experience at something. It's harder to get better at that. So trying new things that are challenging is fun, and hitting someone with a sword is always a good time.
I think both me and Her Majesty can agree to that, and multiple people listening as well. So we've gone into some of the different things you can do in the SCA, and as both fighters, there's part of fighting that comes in the SCA that makes us different than some other groups is the different awards and recognitions you can get. I know you both have gotten many awards and recognitions through your time. And so this is going to be a very difficult question. So I'm not going to ask like what your favorite award is, because that's like picking your favorite child. I want you to talk about maybe one of your favorite moments or memories of when you got an award or recognition. And if you have multiple, I understand if you want to tell me multiple, but I will start with John on this one if he has one.
Oh, um, probably getting my lion was the most um, overwhelming bit of recognition I've ever received. And I guess people don't know the lion is an award that in Austria you can only give once per reign, and it's Lion of Austria, Defender of the Dream. And it's kind of, to me, it was always the people that were the pillars of the community, the ones that had been around for a long time and continued to serve and give back in so many ways. And you kind of couldn't imagine the kingdom without them. And so it was an award that I never thought I'd get. And getting it, I was the most, it took me, I still sometimes don't believe that I have that award. And definitely took a few weeks for that to like really sink in. And I was completely surprised and dumbstruck by that.
That probably was one of my favorite memories. That was also at a Queen's Champion for Antigone, and we were about to swear the oath of the Legion, I believe.
Yeah.
And they had asked John prior to swear it, and he was at the front, and they secretly gathered the other lions behind him and came around with one of the most beautiful medallions I've ever seen, and kind of just put it on your neck without you fully realizing what was going on.
Yeah.
And uh, I was expecting you to say that one. That was a great memory and moment. So I was glad I was able to be there. And for those who don't know, we have an Aunt Stjorn wiki page, and I believe there is a Lions about the award, because I think it is a very special one that people should know more about the history of. And to repeat the question for Her Majesty, what was one of your favorite moments or memories from an award or recognition?
Well, I feel like that's kind of an easy one for me. Um, I've mentioned a few times that I've wanted to be a white scarf since I was a little girl. It's something that I was literally raised on. My dad is Don Malvin, who's white scarf number 23, and I spent so much time. Uh, I started fighting in his Don's backyard, Don Yolo. Um, and my dad was in the gaming group with Tyvar and Athelian and some other wonderful people who helped raise me. And I just was literally in Tyvar's living room every Friday night for a very long time, just soaking in the culture, and is part of how I was raised. I was told this is this is who we are. This is what we do. I was shown what it meant to be the the pinnacle of the rapier community. I I've dreamed of being a Donia ever since that time. And it was a dream, even though I left the SCA for a while, I never really let go of that dream. Let go of um, some armor bits here and there and garb, but I held on to my rapier. And when I came back to fighting, um, I I came back with a fire in my heart to work towards um, rapier excellence and to become that that version of myself that I had always wanted to be. Because I feel like that's the essence of what you need to do in order to reach toward those goals is to find that person who is Doña Vittoria, who is that person inside of me, because nobody else is going to be um, to fulfill that role exactly the same way that I would. But I did the work and worked on myself in terms of my fighting, in terms of how I interact with others and how I can be a leader. And I I repeated the oath over and over again. Um, every time it was given and I was sitting in court, I was always whispering it um, along with everyone else. And when Christiana gave me the supreme honor of being able to say those words for myself, it was one of the most magical things I think I've ever experienced. Um, I was I was given two legacy white scarves that I am so blessed to be able to wear. One of which came from my father, and although I will spend every single day trying to continue to earn that award and live up to it, it it was certainly one of the most incredible moments that I've ever experienced. Sorry, I just got really emotional about all of that.
No, it's truly inspiring. And you reciting the oath by memory, which is not something I've seen done before, was truly wonderful to see. I knew how much you had worked for it, being at your local practice and seeing you help build the community up. I had no doubt in my mind that you would get that recognition, and you truly have been an incredible addition to the order. And then I know you, not really you, we can blame His Majesty for this, but uh, was it one, maybe two events after that? Yeah, was Winter Crown tournament that His Majesty won, and then you were more than just a white scarf; you were also a princess, and so uh,
That was
I
another
know.
special time, and
Yes,
you're gonna talk about, like, overwhelming moments.
that one was
Oh,
for
man.
sure one.
We had a plan going into the day. We knew, like, okay, we're gonna have all these different rounds that we're gonna go through. I had, consort gifts to give to other people. I was, excited to get to stand there and cheer John on and hold hands with the other consorts. And that was so great. And everything just kept going according to plan. Like, I supported John the best I knew how. We had a whole support system of our friends that showed up that were along with us, and it was really, really incredible. Um, and then all of a sudden, um, it was the last fight, and then he won, and I was standing
Uh-huh.
there, and somebody said, "Go to him," because I was like, I just, I was so stunned. I And then, they put the crowns on our heads, and I literally I stood up and I I turned to Christiana and said, "Now what do we do?" Because that was
Well,
where my plan had ended. I knew what the plan was, and
Mhm.
up until that moment.
I'll say this: I've won a lot of tournaments in my time in the SCA. No tournament have I ever won before was the most. I had the most overwhelming feeling right afterwards. I definitely blacked out for a little bit and was like, what do I do?"
yeah, I remember you both being kind of rushed to the like royal area immediately and then being a bit overwhelmed. I know your head of entourage was a bit overwhelmed because we all live, what, 9 hours, no, 7 hours away from that event. So there was only so many of us there, but it was a whirlwind, but it was very fun. And I just remember the energy in the room because I wrote out the next question as pointing out that you're both first time royals. And I know I was not the only one there that this was their first time experiencing that, experiencing someone winning for the first time. And uh everyone was just so excited for the both of you. I know you guys weren't there for all of that part, but everyone, just the whole event site was just buzzing with like fresh energy, and it was really great to see. And
Well, we
so, being first time royals, you guys have been doing the job for about a month. You were prince and princess for about 4 months before that. What has it been like?
I'm going to go back just a moment though, and really say, yes, there's energy and buzz about being first time royals, but we truly stand on the shoulders of giants. Like
Mhm.
we have such amazing people that we were able to ask their counsel of, and uh, if we hadn't had the amazing support network of the royal family that immediately stood up and helped us understand what was what needed to happen, and where everything was going, it wouldn't have been the same experience. It truly is a group effort in order to make a reign succeed. So, yay, fresh energy, but also yay, people who know what they're doing. Because
Absolutely.
we would not be nearly as successful as we have been so far without those individuals having our backs. But as far as what's it been like being first time royals? Oh man, drinking from the fire hose. There's been like you can think you know what you're getting into, but it's kind of like parenting. Like when I became a first time mom, like I read all the books. I thought I knew what I was getting into, and then she arrived, and she was so wonderful, and it's amazing and overwhelming. And yeah, being crowned is very similar to that. There's a lot to learn about what it takes to govern a kingdom, and um, their former majesties, Crefeld and Christiana, were incredibly gracious. They took us under their wing and really showed us what it was they were doing. And we don't do things exactly the same way, but we certainly appreciated getting that insight. Getting the insight of other members of the royal family who let us know, helped said, hey, these are the mistakes we made. Don't make those same mistakes. People who said this worked really well for us. You might consider doing that. It's just been incredibly amazing to have that support. But yeah, drinking from the fire hose. That's my answer.
What about you, John?
I mean, they definitely, royals definitely tell you don't know what it is until you're in the seat, and that's totally true. You can imagine it, and I've been around a lot of reigns and crowns before. I've served as Queen's Champion and helped with Entourage, and it is a different perspective when you're actually sitting in the chair and you're wearing the crown. 'Cause in some ways, ultimately, the buck stops with you, right? And there's a whole team of people that's supporting us and we have great people, and we have gotten amazing advice from former royals and um, from our entourage and our advisors. But at the end of the day, it's still like we still have to go up in there in court and say the things, and the decisions that we make affect how people play the SCA, and ultimately those are our decisions. And so it is definitely an overwhelming feeling, um, and it's also like it's a big responsibility. We're trying to take that on and make sure we're doing it right. It's also really cool, awesome, fun thing to be able to do, and we're very fortunate to be able to do it. And um, yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but it's a really cool thing to do.
I have no doubt. And so far, you have both been doing it with so much grace and humility. And I have enjoyed watching you and look forward to the many months ahead of us.
Not too many. No,
not
it's
not too many, but still got a few more events and maybe a war
just a
in there
few.
also. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month down, 5 to go. No. Yeah, it's a privilege, and we don't take it for granted. We're really, really we care so much about this kingdom and about this society and about this community, and we care a lot about doing it right.
I have absolutely no doubt. And maybe I'm a little biased, but I know there will be others who agree with me. And with all the responsibility that goes into being crown, and with growing up in this kingdom and knowing a little bit more about both of you, what's the impact do you want to make in Anstiora now that you know His Majesty is a peer, Her Majesty is a white scarf and a queensman, and you have both served on Stiora for many years. And so I want to really preface this question as, what is the impact you now want to make in this new position you are in as crown? I know that's a big question.
John, do you want to take this
And
one first?
Yeah, I think we want to leave the kingdom better than we found it, right? Or at least not worse. We want to bring. I think we are both. We're the first. There hasn't been a first time crown in a long time, or at least a handful of years. There hasn't been a crown from Bringolad in almost like 30 years, and it kind of depends on how you count it, but basically 30 years. And I think we want to try to bring a little more youthful energy to the kingdom, and new ideas, but also make sure that we honor the traditions that have come before, because we both care very much about that, and just make sure that everyone in the kingdom enjoys themselves and has a good time, because that's why we're here.
absolutely. And uh, to touch on this past weekend was Queen's Champion, and on Stiora, being the Queen's Champion is a big role and responsibility. It is one that many rapier fighters strive and train for. It is a job. It is one that we aspire to do, though. And one of those jobs is getting to follow and protect the queen. And in Onstior, we have a tradition to sing to the queen at Queen's Champion. And we had a few friends from out of kingdom who visited, who that is not normal tradition. And I really wanted to point out something special that Her Majesty did, which was sing a verse back to us, which I had never seen. And so I wanted to ask Her Majesty the decision and thought process of that. If you haven't seen the live stream or one of the many videos posted, she's a beautiful voice and singer. And I wanted to ask, what made you want to do that?
Oh, well, I know it's the first time you've heard that happen,
Mhm.
but I was definitely inspired by Gwen when she reigned. She sang a verse back to the Legion. And that was an incredibly special moment for a lot of people. I tried as hard as I could to find the lyrics that she had sung, but unfortunately, they seem to be lost to time. There was a video that was taken, and I was only able to decipher the first line of what it was she sang. So I used that as a springboard to write a new verse. Hopefully, it could be well documented, and if anyone else wants to use it in the future, please do. Apologies. Hopefully, it's well documented, and if anybody else wants to use that in the future, please do. Um, but I just really wanted to show my love and appreciation for the Legion and for the rapier community. As a member of the rapier community, I know what it means to stand on the other side of that relationship. And as I was getting ready for this past weekend, um, I I was coming at it from the perspective of being a rapier fighter. As we were looking at banners to bring, John was giving me a hard time. I was saying, "We should bring this banner, we should bring that banner, and I wanna make sure that all of these beautiful queen banners are up," and he was saying, "Oh, yes, your majesty, whatever you want, your majesty." And then my response was, "I'm just a girl. I'm just a rapier fighter who wants to make sure that this event is all that it can be, because I view it as a renewal between of the vow between the rapier community and the roses through the personage of the queen. And just to be on the other side of that relationship and to get the opportunity to to give my love to the rapier community, it I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it again. It was an absolutely incredible opportunity, and I knew I just wanted to do absolutely everything I could to make sure that the Legion knows how much the Queen loves and respects them.
Absolutely. And I think you did a wonderful job of that at the event. Uh, Also at the event, for those who have been in the game for some time, might be aware of a change that John and Maggie made. They actually made multiple changes, including reading into law of my office, becoming a greater officer of Onstiora, and a few different requirements, including a week's knowledge of if you are able to compete in Crown or not. And with so many things going on the weekend, a new champion, and the change for the white scarf, I want to encourage everyone to, if you don't know what we're talking about, or if you do, to read the speech that Her Majesty read in court, or to watch the live stream video on our YouTube page, or on uh, Facebook and Discord, which is where the speech has been posted, uh, to learn more about it. I did want to give the opportunity to their majesties if they wanted to add anything about that change to this interview.
Yes, and thank you for that opportunity. We did not make this decision lightly. It is something that has, you know, been weighing on both of our minds for a long time. We have seen how things have changed in the rapier community over time and wanted to ensure that the white scarf of Onstiora always has a place of honor. And something that was so important to us is to honor that heritage, that history and tradition. And we spent so much time going around and talking to roses, to white scarves, to members of the Order of Defense. We talked to members who have the Blade of Merit. We talked to people who were um, cadets, and we wanted to understand the heart of the community. We wanted to understand the values, the intentions. We wanted to understand um, the impacts of this decision, and we know that there are impacts. And get all of this counsel and bring to the community a solution that we don't think is perfect, but we think is worthy of the white scarf that we both revere so much. And yes, I do encourage everyone to please read the words that I read in court. Please also read the new award constitution to understand that what we're doing is trying to just pay homage to all of that history and to bring it with us together into the future for the next generation of rapier fighters in Osteora.
Thank you both so much. And I have two last questions, because I know time is important. And as Crown, you have lots of different responsibilities, more than just being at events, everything from looking at award recommendations to meetings to thinking and planning and logistics. And so don't want to take up more time. But these last questions I thought were ones I thought of that I really want to leave people with. The first one is, what's a piece of advice that you've got in either being in the SCA or from someone in the SCA that you apply even in your mundane world? If John
Um,
wants to start, yeah.
yeah. This is a little bit of a funny one, but um, people have told me, or I think this is, I think Master Avery says this, but I think he might be quoting Don Yolo. You can trust everyone, but what can you trust them to do? Think about that all the time.
It's a good one. Her Majesty?
It's no secret that I am so inspired by Tessa, and the way that she treats people around her is just it's why she's my forever queen. And so the lesson that I kind of took away from the SCA and how to sorry, let me try again. The lesson that I took away from the SCA that I apply in the mundane world is that people just will remember how you treat them. That's one of the most important. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble on this one. um, is that people will remember how you treat them. Tessa does such an incredible job of making everyone feel special, and I try to embody that as much as I can in my way.
That's wonderful. And for my last question, if someone was listening and thinking about joining the SCA, what would you tell them? Either a piece of advice or a message to help them get started?
If somebody was considering coming out to an event, I'd say, yeah, come on, come out and try it. What have you got to lose? A few hours on a Saturday, and hey, if you decide it's not for you, great. But what you have to gain is an incredible community and a whole slew of amazing hobbies. So, yeah, if you're interested, there are a number of people who are ready, willing, and able to help facilitate your launch of that journey.
Thank you, Your Majesty. His Majesty.
Say I hear a lot of discussion about people asking how do you make friends outside of school or work as you get older into your to adulthood. And the SCA, the answer is always like join a club, find a hobby, right? And the SCA is a great thing to do for that. It I have all of my best friends, my partner, I all met through the SCA. So it is really just a community that happens to do medieval stuff, but you can meet best people are in this game. So I think if you're looking for a community, that's like the SCA is a great place to find that. So, and I think that it's very valuable and it has always been valuable, I think, but especially in this day and age, community is also what it's all about. So
Those are very wise words that I agree with and echo on as we end this podcast. If you are interested in learning more about the SCA, go to sca.org. Anstiora is the kingdom that is most of Texas and all of Oklahoma. So if you are in that area, please join us at an event and find your local group, as their local groups are always doing practices and gatherings where you can learn more and try new things. So thank you both, Your Majesties, for joining me. Thank you for listening to Stellar Sounds, the Onstiorn interview podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode and come back to learn more about the many populous members who make our kingdom so stellar. To learn more about the Society for Creative Anachronism, go to sca.org. And if you are in Texas or Oklahoma, check out onstiora.org.